Well, there it is. It's Friday morning, and it's time for relaxing painting with Dyson Dungeons. And I can't. There, I can't. Oh, there it is. I lost my mouse cursor. There it is. Yeah, main camera showing things that are painted or going to be painted. So you've got these. I think they're some sort of celestial. At least that's what I've been told. This one is like 99% done. I just want to do a little bit of touch up with some blue on the tip of the wing here because that got a little light. This one, the wings are going to look like this. So it gets some blue on it and then some white pearlescence so that they stay shiny because, you know, they got to be shiny. And then the sword will be painted this bronze and gold like the mace on this other one. And then I need to give it oversized piercing blue eyes. So I'll do that along the line somewhere. And then after this one is done and this one is done, they'll get put aside. And then I've got this little kind of like rangerish sprite-like figure. You know, I'm just going to paint it, some classic colors like leather brown with a wash on it on the boots and the collar, and then green. I'll look at the color chart and pick a couple of green colors out for the tunic and the pants. Probably just use ivory for the flesh. Looks like there's some hair. I don't know, it's hair or a bandana. I have to put my head magnifiers on in order to see that. Carrying a lantern, so that'll be, you know, a little fiddly to try to get that looking nice. And then the wings, what I'm going to try with the wings, because I'm not sure quite what to do with them, is I think I'm going to paint them white, like this, as a base coat, okay? And then maybe use some pearl white, just to give it a little gloss. And then there's like veins on them, is I might try to like dry brush. I don't know if I'll succeed or not with silver, okay, on just like the vein, the raised parts. And I don't know if that will work or not. If it doesn't look good, then I can just paint over them. You know, we'll just build up layers and layers of paint. Why not? So, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing today, is finishing up just a little touch up on this one, and then finishing this guy. That's like the third time I bumped the sword with my finger, waving it around, you know, just not being careful. That is a sure recipe for breaking off. Let me just, here, take a chance, breaking off the sword. So I'd say there's probably like a 20% chance that I'll do something to break the sword blade off yet today before I finish, given how things are going. One thing I did with this one, you know, you might be able to tell the difference, is I used a very light gray wash on the silveriness, the silver flesh, and it does tone it down a little bit, and it does highlight the texturing and the features. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. It's not a real difficult thing to do. Yeah, so I'm going to be using blue pearlescent and then white pearlescent and gray wash and bronze and gold. There, those are the colors. Those are the colors that I'll be using for finishing these. Oh yeah, piercing blue eyes. I think I used turquoise. I used the color that's on the boots here for the oversized, way oversized piercing blue eyes, but you know, they're oversized so you can see them. Yeah. I really need to get the silver back out because once I put the eyes on, they'll be way too big. and then I'll have to touch up around it. So maybe I'll do the eyes first. Just, you know, just 'cause. Yeah, I'll get that over with. Get the head magnifiers on and do that. And then while those are drying, before I come back with the silver touch-up, I'll do the blue pearlescent on the wings. Yeah, I put all the colors I'll be using, I put them over on the side, on this side where they're out of the way. Yeah, out of the way. There we go. Because otherwise I just keep bouncing into them. Test patch. I guess I really don't need this anymore unless I have to mix up some. Those are good tests of something. I'm not sure. I don't remember what I did this. What I did this for. They kind of turned out cool. Whatever it was for, I hope it turned out well. Can't remember. You know, I'll just keep this here in case I need to mix some epoxy up to replace the sword blade, which I said has a 20% chance of being knocked off. Yeah. So, Friday, relaxing painting, Dice and Dungeons. Let's go to it. No, I can't. I can't start painting within the first 10 minutes of a stream. That would be absurd. Music thinks it's playing and streaming. Should I set a precedent? Should we do a precedent and start mixing the paint at least before 10 minutes is up? Why not? Do something startling. Friday. Anyway, yeah. So I'm going to finish this one with just a tiny bit of touch-up here on the tip of the wing, where it's just lighter than I want it to be. And then the blue pearlescent and the white pearlescent and the gray wash, touching up the face where I make the eyes too big, painting the sword and the base. There's a lot of little, you know, just a lot of little stuff that needs to be done to finish these things up. So, no, yeah, I need this neutral gray to get another color. Yeah, so I have to go through like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 different little bits of paint. Great. Okay, well, let's kick this off with the appearance of the head magnifiers. That's always fun. Take these off so I can't read the chat screen. I tried to move the chat screen closer to me yesterday, and it's got like this multiple hinged thing, and there's plenty of room, and it looks like I should be able to get it like at least 6 inches closer, which would make a difference, but I wasn't able to do it without messing up other stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll try over the weekend. Yeah, there's all sorts of things that need to be done yet over the weekend. I still haven't painted the missile tubes yellow. I haven't done the second coat on those yet. Because unless I mess this up, which is likely, piercing blue eyes, even with the head magnifier on, came out okay. So I'm not going to need the silver touch-up, huh? Ha, on me for that. Yes, there's still some value left in this like 2 bristles left, worn out pine brush. Okay, so there's that. Yay for that. I don't need these anymore. I won't need these until I start working on the little sprite thing. I'm calling it a sprite. I don't know why. It has nothing to do with the soft drink, so no copyright or trademark problems or anything. I'm using it more generically to talk about a little winged creature sort of thing. Yeah, not sure what it is. It's got pointy elf ears. It looks, looks innocuous. It looks fairly small and friendly, carrying a lantern and a staff. Probably like one of the most dangerous things we've ever run into. It's always that way, isn't it? That you think, oh, this looks friendly. This looks like a friendly thing. And then it's not so much. So there, we'll find out sometime in our Dungeons and Dragons campaign, which you must watch. You must go on YouTube and look up Dice and Dungeons and check out all of our previous episodes of Dungeons and Dragons, because our campaign is amazing. And it's the second cup of coffee this morning, which tells you something about how this day is going. Let's see. I'm going to use this really large brush maybe, and then keep this one in the background for when I'm trying to get a little bit of blue like under the arm there, kind of thing. These pearlescent paints can look pretty nice. I mean, they're kind of pretty, but they don't cover very well. They don't spread very well. They're really cool for accents and shading and making things shiny and stuff. But if you were actually trying to paint something with them, not very good for just covering stuff with paint. Or maybe I'm just using them wrong. I don't know. That could be too. Squeeze out a small amount. Generally, this stuff just sort of there. It's not possible to get a small amount. You can only get big globs. There, just like that. Top of the way. There, that went okay. This guy's done. I'm just going to take it off the sticky tack. Try to anyway. And say goodbye to mace-wielding, blue-winged, silver-bodied celestial thing. I mean, not goodbye forever. This will probably show up sometime. I don't know when in our D&D stream, but for now, it's going. Wow, that's really a crowded mess. There's like 25 minifigs on these little platforms here off to the right. Are very scarce flat surfaces. There I was, putting it somewhere where hopefully it'll stay intact. This is now making it look blue and sort of shiny. Put this on more heavily than I did on the other one, knowing that I'm going to use the white pearlescent paint to work on the tips of the feathers. This is where I need to, there's this little bit right under its arm. It needs to be blued. There. Keep reminding myself that sometimes when things look a little bit sort of uneven, maybe not real pretty, that these are going to be, you know, on camera, shown at a distance, and so they're like props, movie props, that kind of thing, which means that it's how they look on camera, not so much how they look, especially with the head magnifier. Yeah, it's like 10 times more of this paint squeezed out than I need. It's just the nature of that stuff. Maybe it's designed that way, so when you need tiny bits of it, you get big blobs of it, so that you use it up faster and then have to buy more. It's probably not. Probably it was designed for people who use more than just tiny little bits to paint the wings of probably a celestial thing, creature. Yeah, painted back and forth. I got get careless here and do it. Something dumb. And I'm going to get the smaller brush to get in there. Trying to paint, you know, with the feathers. There isn't much detail on these. Get these spots near the shoulders and things where I couldn't safely use the larger brush. Hi, who? Yes. Thanks for joining in so early. I will do a flip as soon as I finish putting what I consider to be an adequate amount. Blue on these wings. It's just like wiping off the stuff underneath it. Okay, well, I can always come back and add a little bit later. after it dries a little bit, then it's possible to brush on a little bit more. Then it's always like, how does this look after the white pearlescent goes on it? There, well, that's all blue and shiny now, so there it is. Let that dry, and while that's drying, get these here. I'm going to mount this on the sticky tack while it's here. The job that's so sad. So sad being under the age of 1,000,000, where you still have to work to support yourself as opposed to just, laying around living on the dole, right? Yeah, that's not the case here, but yeah. Flip. Let's get the flip done here. Move these out of the way. Yeah, I think it's safe. I can do the flip with the big thing here. Not sear, not sear, sear. 1 to 2, 2 to 2. Oh, it fell. That often happens. And can't keep things on the highly sophisticated piece of cardboard work surface here. I got 2 more to go. It's tied 2 to 2. You knew the tie had to be broken, right? I mean, that was inevitable. 3 to 3. It came out even today. Pretty amazing. Take my little flip things and put them up here out of the way. Yes, so at the eyes, I'm gonna do the gray wash now on the body. Before I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna clean the brushes. Get the stuff out of these. There we go. So on Monday, I'm going to be back doing minifigs. I've got a unicorn, some sort of winged fairy-like archer, and a gigantic, compared to our minifig sizes, a gigantic, like, swamp sewer monster thing that's going to be painted. Painted to look like it's basically fungus, I guess. It's like a big fungus monster thing. So I painted one patterned after another one that Nicole did once. So I'll have to look at that and try to replicate it. I think it was like green with, it was like yellow with green tendrils all over it. I think it might end up looking like that. It's really kind of, yeah, I'll show it to you later. It's hard to describe. This is a good one for the wash. need very much of this. 2 drops instead of 1 because sometimes it'll like dry in yeah, and it doesn't show very much. Okay, this has very little pigment in it, but the intent is to have what pigment there is kind of tone down the silver gloss just a little bit, not very much because it stays shiny, but for the pigment to kind of settle into like the musculature and stuff. You can maybe see it, maybe not. I mean, it might be hard for you to see it, but it just kind of settles in the low spots. Looked like there was like a piece of armor on the back of the hand here, but I don't know. It's not on the other hand, so I wasn't really quite sure what to do with it, so I just left it silver. When you see it on screen, if this one shows up in our stream, you won't know that. You won't notice it. Like warranty. A little bit more here in this chest area, and then I'm going to kind of let it lay down like this so that whatever pigment there is that's in the low spots like this doesn't run off until it dries. And send it down gently so that I don't break the wings off. All these minifigs, while that's drying, I'll show you the fungus monster thing I'm going to be working on next week. All these minifigs have been printed on the rosin printer, and the dungeon tiles, like the ones I'll show you later, because I always show off the dungeon tiles at least once during the stream, are printed on the PLA printers back there. Once that wash dries, which will be in a little while, I'll be using the white pearlescent and starting at the tips of the wings, just putting a white color on so that the tips of the feathers are lighter than the top. Sort of an attempt at shading. Okay, Nicole's really good at that, but I'm going to do my best. And then when that's on, I'm going to paint the sword, bronze hilt and gold blade. And then when that's done, I'll paint the base just gray, the same color pretty much as the primer that's on it. And then that will be done, and I'll pull out the little sprite thing here and probably start with the leather brown on the cowl and the boots, and then pick out 2 colors of green, one for the tunic and one for the pants. There is a belt. The belt, I'm tempted. No, I'm not going to make the belt the same color as the boots. Belt and shoes are not going to match on this. I'm going to make the belt a 3rd color of green. And then there's a little buckle. And the buckle will be pretty dark metallic. And then I'll mess around with the wings. I said I was going to paint them base coat white, do a pearlescent white on them to give it kind of a glossy color, the pearlescent doesn't work on the gray like this. It doesn't cover very well, so it has to have a white base coat in order to put the white pearlescent on. And then I was going to try to dry brush silver just on the ridges, just to give it a little shininess, just, you know, the texture of the wings. And after that dries, if it looks okay, that'll be great. And if it doesn't, then I'm gonna have to try something else. The lantern, I think I'm going to use the bronze on the lantern, and then I might use, I don't know, like the glass part of it. I could just paint white, I guess. The lantern might be a little bit of a challenge, you know, just to get it to look right. I'm gonna have to get the head magnifiers out to see quite how it's designed. It almost looks like there's two parts to it. You know, it's very long, and there's a ridge across it, so there is a metal frame on the bottom and some things across, but it might be like it has two pieces of shiny show through. So I'm going to start with the easier parts and then, you know, work my way to some of the detail and do my best to make it look okay. Yeah, I think I can get the white on now. So this is probably going to be like the blue, you know, where I wanted a dot about this big and I got a blot about that big. It's probably going to come out this way too, this pearlescent white. This always dries at the top like that, and you end up with here too. There we go. No, I did succeed in getting just a little bit. A bunch in the cap, so I'm going to use this stuff. Anyway, yeah. So I'm painting up from the tips of the wings here, so that the tips of the feathers are like lighter, and then up into the wing. At least that's what I've been told I should do, so I'm trying to do that. Come back and like second coat that. You know, every once in a while I remember to look up. Why do I look up? Well, first, to make sure that I'm still on screen, because there is this tendency to kind of wander off, especially when I'm painting bits like this, you know. It's kind of wander off screen, and then I'm talking about what I'm doing and nobody can see what it is because it's off to the side somewhere. I've been a little better about that recently though, so That's good. Maybe it's a camera placement. Maybe I finally got it, finally placed it in a spot that captures it mostly. So the idea here is to make the edges of the feathers lighter by putting a thin layer of this white pearlescent paint over the top of the blue pearlescent paint, and then kind of feathering it into the rest of the wing. Shiny wing with kind of bluish and whitish, celestialish kind of colors, right? Whatever this is. And then let's look at it from the front. Real artist would have, be able to do a much better job, but it's coming along okay. I think it's, it's blending in pretty well. It's not too bad. Centered. Are you saying that I haven't wandered off into who knows what yet? Yeah, I've been mainly talking about, what I'm doing. I haven't wandered off into a monologue about spy shows in the 1960s. Like, that was the theme before. I think what I'm going to do today, when I decide to wander off into, talking about whatever, is I'm going to spend some time talking about Tom Terrific. Tom Terrific was incredibly narcissistic, at least in the theme song, when, introducing himself. Okay, well, I think this is looking pretty good, so I'm going to just stop messing with it and cap this up, and the stuff that's in there, well, that's the way it is. And let's see, this is getting really close to being done. Kind of weirdly, only an hour into it. So I'm not sure how this is going to go in terms of, what's going to get done during the stream. Maybe I should slow down. Maybe I should drop something. Maybe I should break the sword off intentionally so I can spend some time mixing some epoxy and watching it cure. Or maybe not. Maybe I won't do that. The next bit is to paint the hilt of the sword. That's just not fun. I have to just say, painting the hilt of the sword is going to not be fun. It's all next to all sorts of other different colors. So I'm going to use my head magnifier for that for sure, and this tiny little detail brush, and that's one dot at a time. That's going to be a one dot at a time painting thing. Probably should have painted it like early on, so I could paint up to it rather than from it. But so it goes. I hadn't whined or complained about anything yet. Like, 45 minutes into the stream, so I guess I'll just talk about how I really should have done this in a different order, but I didn't, so that's what happens. Hi, you old gem. Thanks for joining in. So the thing I need to do this weekend for sure, because I put it off now for at least 2 weeks, is do the second coat. Wow, what's up with that? Try to paint on that. Is put the second coat of yellow spray paint on the missile tubes. So I actually have set up the garage. I was just waiting for it to warm up a little bit, and it has. To do that, right? It's a spray paint in a can, right? So can't do it down here in the basement because I don't have adequate ventilation. Not a problem with these paints because they're all acrylics, right? And they're tiny little bits and they're brushed on, so that's not ever been an issue. But with a can of spray paint, I only have the paint. That's not the problem. It's the propellant. That is dangerous. It's flammable. It's toxic. So those things get spray painted in the garage, and it's been too cold for it lately, but now it's warmed up a little bit. So I should be able to do that either today, depending on how the rest of this day goes. Whether the second cup of coffee keeps me up. But I finally convinced myself that I can't really mess it up much. That what it absolutely has to happen is that they need to be uniformly yellow, and that the amount of work it's going to take to get them to fit is just what needs to be done. So after I spray paint them yellow for the second coat, and then inspect them, and maybe on a couple of them, maybe even a third, there's going to be a pretty big buildup of paint on these things, which means that they will be larger in diameter than they were before they got painted, right? And because of that, they might not fit through the openings in the mid-deck on the missile deck, which means just individually, there's 16 of them, and I'm guessing that each one of them will have to be individually reamed out so that the diameter of the hole in the mid-deck is slightly larger than the diameter of the missile tube. Anyway, that's going to be really tedious, and fortunately for you, you'll all get to see that tedium on Submarine Wednesday. And then I'll have, because each one is different in terms of diameter and, it's good side and bad side, each one will have a very specific location, and I'll have to keep track of which ones go where. And then they all get to go in together. After each one is fit in, then they all get to go in together on the bottom deck and the mid deck and slide hopefully into the hull of the submarine. And then the top deck, the cap deck, goes on, and I'll have to decide, maybe I'll experiment with a little bit about whether whether that goes in at the same time and all 3 decks slide in together, or whether I slide that in after the other 2 decks. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to have to come up with something interesting to babble on about during that process, because anyway, yeah, once I get that all put in, it'll be a huge triumph. You know, it'll be a cause for celebration once those missile tubes are in the deck, and eventually they will be. It just might be, you know, a just very lengthy, tedious process of getting all 16 of them to fit and show their best side forward. But once that's done, then I can put the reactor deck together, and the parts for that are already all painted, so it's ready to go. So that's just a matter of assembling. You know, there's some cementing that needs to be done, and some, you know, little refitting and refitting and things. But once that's done, then I'm down to the machine rooms. I need to find all the parts. They'll all require a lot of sanding and filing and stuff, like the parts that I have so far. But there shouldn't be any real challenges there. You know, other than getting the parts, finding the right parts and getting them in the right places and putting 3 coats of paint on them. You know, that shouldn't be too terribly awful. And once those are in, then the interior of the sub will be pretty much done. There's just a lot of fiddly bits yet done. The nose cap needs to be put on, the tail fins and the propeller needs to be repaired, because all 3 propellers and all 3 kits were busted in the same way, and I know why. It was just because of the way that they were molded and the way people take them off. I don't know why. The propeller is like one of the very last things that goes on the model, yet all 3 modelers, the previous owners of these kits, decided to break them off of the sprue, and they're very delicate. You know, the propeller blades are really very thin, and the way they were attached to the sprue, they all just broke in exactly the same place in the same way. You know, I've got the parts. I just need to cement them together in a way that looks okay. So this one's getting a golden sword blade, because the head of the mace on the other one is golden. And we're just staying with the same color scheme because they're on the same team. Apparently they to like the same weapon club or something. Just needed a little brush to get the boundary between the hilt and the blade done, and then I can use a little bit bigger to do the sword blade here. I don't know why these guys got printed. They're kind of, I mean, the DM decides what to print. And maybe she just thought, well, you know, these are cool looking models. or maybe we are going to come in contact with them at some point in our campaign. I painted a couple of centaurs a week or so ago, and I think for sure we're going to try to run into centaurs because my character's backstory indirectly involves centaurs, in that the founder of the order to which I was introduced by the elf that came to visit my village after everyone disappeared and was my mentor. The founder of that order is rumored to have gone on to live with the centaurs. Of course, there's another rumor to say that that rumor was false because, I don't know, the DM is just making my life difficult. You know, one story is that the founder of the order to which I belong, the Order of Ramardin, was a wonderful peacekeeping diplomat, and another person, I don't know, maybe they were just evil, maybe they were telling the truth, I don't know, said, oh, don't believe those stories. Ramardin was nothing like that. Ramardin was a real jerk and an evil person, and that's why they broke off from the Cheer. There's like historical political rivalry going on there or something, but not being able to get the straight story is really pretty frustrating, right? I mean, one would like to have one's backstory be more consistent. Okay, well, this is almost done, and that means it's time to paint the base. This base is a little bit challenging because of the gown that goes all the way around. Usually there's like just 2 boots or 2 feet or something. So I'm going to use the tiny little brush, yay, and paint around the edges, and then use like one of these bigger brushes to fill it in. This is going to be a little slow, and hopefully it'll go okay. I don't really want to be retouching with the blue paint. Move on and get done with this so that I can start working on the other little sprite-like creature, whatever it is. Yeah, paint here as long as I can. And I'm going to start around the foot, because that part is like the oh yeah, I'm going to go quiet here, because usually painting the base is like, it just goes real quickly and it's easy, but this one is just a little bit more challenging than some of them. Wouldn't have thought so. I mean, it's just this sort of round gown kind of thing, but just the way it's done. Because of the way it shows when one looks at it. Ornament or something in paint. This is where it's always pleasantly surprising to me that my hand is still steady enough to do this without unintentionally, without splattering paint all over the place. I hope that keeps up for a while, at least until I'm done with the submarine, right? At least then. Yeah, given my advanced years here, it's still working. It's not perfect, but I think it's okay. The line is the gown. Once it's just the little tiny bits of unevenness that I can see through these head magnifiers aren't going to show up when one is watching this, when this whatever it is appears as either a benevolent or neutral or unhelpful, maybe adversarial creature in our campaign. I'm thinking I don't know for sure if these two will show up in our campaign. The reason I have to believe that they might is that we have been battling some extra-dimensional, extra-planar, I guess, is the correct way to put it. Some extra-planar adversaries. There's... our DM can get quite imaginative, and apparently what's happening is that there's like an extra-planar set of gods that were excluded from the planes in which we dwell. Okay, and they're unhappy about that, and they are attempting to take over. So they've been recruiting, I'm not sure if they're creatures from our own plane or even if they're extraplanar. They've been like demons and all sorts of horrible, nasty, weird things that nobody's ever seen before, coming to try to pave the way to get people to come over to their side and let them in to take over. So one would think that instead of leaving it up to midnight brunch to battle these forces of, I don't know, I can't even say that they're forces of evil. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're, it doesn't seem like they're right because they're pretty nasty creatures. But yeah, you would think that maybe the gods would send their minions in to defend their own territory, but that hasn't happened. But maybe, maybe these celestials will show up to aid us sometime, if not in actual combat, maybe to provide some helpful advice about how to go forward. I don't know, or maybe they're just... maybe they represent one of the 4 extra planar groups. We've only run into 2 of them. Neither of which was very persuasive in getting us to come to their side. One was definitely a murder cult, just all sorts of horrible runes that hurt and things like this. The second one claimed to be representing order as opposed to chaos, but it wasn't very orderly. We don't know anything about the other 2 at this point. I think, well, maybe a little bit. We know their names, but not what they represent. So I don't know. Here they are with piercing blue eyes. Let me take these off and do a recap by bringing the other one out from... keep these nearby because I'm going to need them to even begin the little sprite kind of critter. Yeah, so now we've got this one, which is a named character. Okay, this is something or somebody. I can't remember. This one just is something that looks like them. So I painted them to be the same color so that they're on the same team in case they need to appear together. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but, you know, they might show up to give us friendly advice. They might show up to help us in horrible combat. They might show up to be representative of one of the forces that's attempting to destroy our plane or take it over. They might not ever show up at all. That's a real possibility. But there they are. Yeah. Looking very shiny and celestially, I guess. So I'm just going to stay on the sticky tack a little bit until the gray paint is dry. Have some more of this and continue to stay alert. Ooh, I should wear my alert sweatshirt sometime. Yeah, it's got a stupid joke on it, and I won't give it away. I'll wear it sometime next week, maybe. And then you can see why it's a lame joke. Yeah, the coffee's cooled off. And I put eggnog in it. So it's eggnog coffee. It's really pretty good. Okay. Well, I've only used up an hour. And I finished one of the minifigs, so I'm going to put these back on and examine this sprite-like critter to see what I'm getting into here. Oh my, there's detail here I didn't see before. So I knew there was a belt with a buckle. There's also buttons. So those need to be done like in bronze. Yeah, so there's boots. Oh, okay, I gotta clean that up. I wasn't sure until I looked at it this way, but they're down in here. There's support strings for the arm, and if that's painted, it'll look really, really weird. The cowl, looks like the cowl's too layered. Not sure. Like there's a cowl with a collar, and I might go ahead and paint the collar a different color. It looks like this. They have hair. I paint the hair blonde. Right now. And then the lantern. Boy, the lantern just is not very lanterny. It's a handle. It looks like maybe the whole top half of it is metal, and then there's a globe on the bottom. With just a little metal piece on the bottom kind of holding the globe on. And I think I'll just paint that white. Maybe if I do silver dry brushing on the wings later, I might do the same thing on the lantern. Okay, there's some cleaning up on this, and I'm going to have to be very careful in doing this. These are sort of delicate. This is the kind of thing where if I get these strings, if they don't snap right off, and it doesn't look like they're going to, I could like break the arm, okay? And I really am not feeling like I want to break the arm off. Take it off of here while I'm doing that, because that's not going to hold. Nope. I didn't break the arm. And the finger reached up and broke off the wings, so that was totally unexpected. I managed to break a part that wasn't anywhere near the part where I was cleaning up. Lovely. Okay, well, it broke off there. So we get to do epoxy. I was hoping to avoid epoxy, but this was essential cleanup, and by holding it, I managed to put pressure on this spot back here. Yep. The issue of misdirection. It's not unusual, I guess. You know, a place where you're not paying attention is the spot that has a problem. You know, hopefully it's a nice clean break. I'll find out in a second as I attempt to refit the piece. This will have green eyes, kind of blonde hair. The boots and the cowl are going to be leather. I don't know about the belt. I might make the belt, you know, like a fashion thing. Maybe I'll make it even red. Okay, just like the whole rest of my outfit is whatever. And these are really nice wings. They look a lot better when they're not broken off. Okay, this is a fairly clean break. If I can stay in focus and get it to, you know, it's a fairly large contact area. If I can get it to line up right. There. Weird, it's like it flaked off some of the primer. So there's a change in glossiness that's making it difficult to see exactly how these pieces fit together. No, I have to do my best, and hopefully it won't show too much. That was just unbelievably crappy, you know. To just have my finger on the back of it in just the wrong place. But it is what it is, and the epoxy mixed up here. Let it sit for a few minutes so I don't have to hold the wing forever. And then hopefully repair the little sprite-like creature. Did not break anything again. So that event reminds me once again of my need to petition for an oops button on the Stream Deck. Major oops and a minor oops. This was a major oops. I mean, maybe I should have like a super major oops for like when I, you know, knock a bottle of paint over and destroy the entire work surface and all the brushes and my pants and everything else. You know, so maybe I'll need 3 oops buttons. You know, just an oops, a big oops, and a whoa. I'm gonna be banished from the stream for months because of the size of that oops. Take these off while that's curing. 5-minute epoxy, so I like to let it set for maybe 3 minutes. And then I only need to hold it in place for like 3 more minutes. Okay, I'm going to try to take this off the sticky tack without breaking it. I didn't break the sword. That was a surprise. I broke the wing off the sprite instead. That was a surprise. So these two are done. You know, I think they turned out. They look all right. There's some spots here I don't like. They're just the way the light caught them. Raised surfaces, kind of. But an attempt to fix it just made a mess, so I'm going to stop. Yeah, so these guys are done. Whatever comes of them, I don't know. They might show up on a stream, they might not. They might be friendly and helpful. They might be adversaries from an extraplanar dimension trying to take over our entire world. You know, coming in to banish our gods and replace them with their alternatives. I don't know. Or we might never see them again. But in any case, they are going to fly away, and sit over here by the flying demons, which I painted a very different color. This is the big fungus moss monster that they made that I'm going to attempt to paint next week. And it's all craggly. I don't know, maybe speed paint might work on this, maybe not. But it's just, yeah, it's just calling for all sorts of shading and things like that. And I just need to figure out which colors, which basic colors to paint it. When I've done fungus monsters in the past, some of them have been yellow with green striping on them. You know, like veiny kind of things. I think some have been white with red. But I have several days to confer about different colors. It's got all these little spiky things growing on them, like shelf mushrooms and spikes off the top. And all of those might be different colors of moss and lichen and browns and greens and reds and yellows. I don't know. I will confer, but it looks like this is probably what I'll be working on next. Yeah, no place to put this, really. It's epoxy before it gets too set in its ways. Seems to be setting up very fast. I have to put these back on, otherwise I can't see where it goes. Should have done that before I set it down, and yeah. Things were going too well. Things were going too well today, and then they're not. Okay, let's see if we can re-wing this. I have to remain motionless for 2 minutes. That's fun. Until this is set enough so that it will hold. What I would really like to do is turn this around to see what it looks like in the front. But I cannot do that, because then this will fall off. I'm going to have to start over. So here I am, remaining motionless for another minute and 45 seconds. Look. Oh, that motionlessness didn't. Yeah, the motionless didn't work there. It moved a little bit. I really can't believe I knocked that wing. That was just so classic. Carefully holding it so that I could get those little support strings off and clean up the model, and somehow managed to put pressure on a point where I didn't even know I was touching it. That is how relaxing painting works. You know, like about another 65 seconds. Sorry, you're seeing the top of my head, but I need to keep watching this so that if I unintentionally move, I can reposition it. So this 5-minute epoxy is pretty nice for this kind of thing. It really holds, and holds well for the most part. This one is a little bit challenging because the surfaces are very, very smooth, only and glossy. I mean, where it's snapped, the rosin doesn't have texture, and the epoxy likes a little bit of roughness, you know, so little microscopic bits can hold on to each other. But seems to be holding okay. Well, the nice thing about it is that this is kind of hidden behind its shoulders. So if it looks okay from the back, it'll be okay from the front. Yeah, I can't tell. Symmetric, you know, it looks like it's the other direction, but it seems to be I think once it cures, the wings, if you look at them from the top, they're not quite the same, but, you know. not attached at the top here. I can't see what the issue is. Really kind of frustrating. I can't really focus on it. There's like this little ridge up there. There it is. That's the issue. Is it needed to come up? Hopefully that will hold. But that, whatever it was, that fixed it as long as it holds. Okay, I'm going to just... that for a while, yeah. So it's way... I can't paint this for a while. Because that needs to become very firmly held. There's like this little splinter, this little protuberance of the wing that needed to fit along the top. It was really hard to see until I rotated it. Seems to be there now, but I have to just like not mess with this until like the epoxy is very firmly, you know, it's still a little give in it. And if I try to paint it, or even paint around it, it could be a problem. So I'm just going to spend a few moments here. Looks like there's, I don't know if there's flaws, little buttons. Yeah, there's just little blobs of stuff that shouldn't be there. I mean, since I've already busted this, why not the mess here of the boots. I ended up having to take my break pretty early today so that this epoxy can set before I start any more work on this. Just isn't hardened yet. So I'm just going to look around, you know, just to get the colors right. It looks like, I thought these were like knee-high boots, but then they come down and there's a, I'm not going to mess with the colors too much. These will be leather brown. The cowl will be leather brown. To decide what to do with the belt. And then I need a tunic color and a pants color. So while this is just, you know, finishing its cure, I'm going to set it down like that. I'm going to get my color chart out and pick some greens. Yeah. Always keep your work surface clear so that, you know, things. So who has complained once that it took me 10 minutes to find my brushes? So today I put all my brushes, all the brushes that I use, there in a pile. Just grab a couple of bolts. Why? They're really nice bolts that go to something. They're very black and glossy. These are very pretty, but not what I needed where I needed it. Greens. I have to find some really nice greens here. I've got 7 different greens, plus these are blue greens. Those aren't going to work. Plus sick green, and these are Tamiya colors. I'm liking the dark green. I'm thinking the dark green for the pants, maybe. That sick green is a pretty nice color. I think the pants can be the dark green. That's a good, but this refractive green is kind of olive color. Might be good for the pants. Oh, so many choices. Not that it matters at all. You want there to be some... The refractive green is really dark, though. It's almost brownish black. Thinking maybe the flat green for the pants and the sick green for the tunic. And then maybe I can use the green wash. I don't know. I'm going to test it. I'm going to do... Well, this is curing, and it's going to take a while. I can do some color stuff, you know. Where's that? No. Green, sick green. Sick green. It sounds, I mean, it's got a terrible name, but it actually looks pretty good. So the 2 colors. And what I'm going to do is get another piece of white, pour it out, because this one's just way too filled up. Is I'm going to do a little test patch of each one. Might need to buy some more of the sick green. That's getting used pretty often. These greens settle, especially if they haven't been used for a while. What I'm doing here is doing little test patches. Not to test the color, because I know what color they are, because I've got the color chart. But I want to see what they look like with the green wash on them. The green wash is something we've been using in the sewers. And it just helps make things that look really flat look not so flat. They're running around. I hope they're playing. Good time playing up there. So this is sick green. Whoa. Getting some exercise for sure. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it sounds like thunder rumbling across the floor. Yeah, sorry, I would be much further along here if I hadn't broken the wing off the little sprite. And the wing is not attached all that well. But it's on, and I think after it's painted, unless somebody had watched the stream, they wouldn't know that I had broken it. But I want the epoxy to be very well cured before I start painting, because otherwise it's going to move around and detach maybe. I mean, it might not go well. I'm looking for another wash that we use. I don't know where all the washes went. I'll have to look. Maybe is this it? No. It's called Umber. And we've used it a lot in the past. It used to be our go-to wash because we got that before we got the dark brown wash. I could use dark brown. But with the leather brown, it just looks better than the dark brown in terms of making the leather brown actually look like leather. Part of this too is I want to make sure that you can actually see a difference between these two colors. Third, those are really close together. This one's supposed to turn browner as it dries. Let's see. My other choices. Goblin green. Okay, I'm going to check. I'm going to pull the goblin green out. Where'd my goblin green go? Emerald. Goblin. That means a lot of stirring. Yeah, some of these paints, especially the greens, it seems the pigment and the solvent just really separate significantly, and with this one it's very much so. You could see when I pull it out that you can see that the two different colors. Now we're gonna, spend a couple of minutes listening to the vibrating sounds while I try to get this paint stirred up. The thick green dried really quickly. The flat green is not drying that quickly at all. Now, that's mixed enough. Let's find out. Yeah, I'm going to put it here so I can compare this color to the other two. And have a comparison of all three colors. And then I need to wait for them to dry, and then I'm going to put the wash on them just to see how that looks. That's a really nice color for the tunic, though, I think, just the wash, depending on how it looks with the wash. Yeah. Doing their best upstairs to tire out the dogs. They needed exercise, I guess. They needed some running. But now I don't hear any running anymore, so either they're tired or they got into trouble. Oh, there we go. Yeah, they're slowing down now. I need to wash this brush out a little more. It's all full of green paint. So here we go. Is that as the flat green is drying, you can see how it's getting much. It started out looking almost the same as that, but now it's getting much darker. So that's turning out to be closer to the color I was hoping to use. This is going to be too yellow. I use bronze for the belt buckle and the buttons. I need to decide what to do with the belt. Just put the goblin green away. That isn't going to be used. I might do a dark green belt. Good. To use the Tamiya dark green. The Tamiya, we bought a lot of the Tamiya dark green about this time a year ago because there was a Christmas ornament painting thing. They were printed on the PLA printers, a multi-piece sort of stacking thing that looked like trees. And what better color to paint on than this nice dark green color. It's a very pretty green. Yeah, this is good. I'm going to, after I get this on, I'm going to paint a little stripe of it just along here so I can see how it compares to the sick green and the flat green. Just a little bit of it there. Since I got this brush clean, I'll keep it clean. Grab one of these other little miscellaneous brushes here. Yeah, so this was used to paint Christmas trees. It's a very nice green. As you will see, it might make a very good belt color, or I might end up painting the belt just brown anyway, because leather to match the boots and the collar. I don't know. But if this color looks good, I'll use it on the belt and the collar. There's a little bit of a collar that goes above the cowl. And I think it would be nice to have it be a different, to match the belt maybe. I don't want to just like splatter all sorts of colors, too many colors on this model, but yeah. If you've got special features that have been molded onto it, might as well make them visible. Okay. I'm going to be needing to take a break anyway pretty soon here, and so I will. This is the now repaired. This is kind of worthless at this point unless I break something again. All right, so the plan here is to not epoxy anything anymore. And doing that by not breaking anything anymore. These are color samples that I'm letting dry, and then I want to test this wash on them to see how it looks, because otherwise they'll just look really very flat. These three colors are the colors of the tunic, the pants, and the belt and collar. I need leather brown. Used that in a long time. We used to use that all the time. That was a very frequently used color. If I can find it even anymore. Oh yeah, this needs a huge, this is going to require a lot of mixing, so I'll do that while I'm talking about what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to test the green wash on these to see how they look washed. This leather brown doesn't look much like leather when you put it on, but then when it's washed, usually umber wash, I'm going to have to see if I can find that. There it is. With an umber wash over it, it really does look like leather. It's very nice. I'm just collecting all the paints that I need. The wings are going to be base coated white, then pearlescent white on top of that, and then I'm going to use this silver color to do some dry brushing on it to highlight the textures of the wings. So I'm using the pearl silver pearlescent paint on top of the white so that they look shiny like the wings on the other, but just white. And I have to put a white base coat on because it doesn't cover. I can't just paint it. If I just painted it over the gray here, it wouldn't look very good at all. So white base coat, pearlescent white overcoat, silver dry brushing, leather brown boots and cowl with an umber wash, sick green tunic, flat green pants, which may or may not be washed depending on how it looks when I give it a test after the break. Then I need to paint the lantern. I'll probably, I'm going to just use brass and white on the lantern, and then the stick will just be brown. So lots of, just a surprisingly large number of colors going on this little broken winged sprite light critter. Oh yeah, I was gonna do blonde hair. Blonde hair requires yellow with an umber wash. And then I need to do the skin. Oh, yeah, this is going to go on forever because of all the different little bits of colors on it. Trying to, now that I am pulling them all out and spreading them all over the work surface here, kind of surprised at how much. Okay. Let's see, what else do I need? I need yellow. Yellow for the hair. I could just use yellow. I've got all sorts of other yellowish colors. Sepia. Let's see if I can find it, if the Tamiya yellow is even out here anymore. If it even exists. Yep, there it is. We've got yellow. And the yellow will look really not very good until it's washed. And then it'll look like, you know, blonde hair. Okay. Now these aren't quite dry enough yet. I'm going to start my break a little bit early and hopefully end it on time. I'm going to aim, not succeed. My goal, not even an objective, it's just a goal, is to return by about 20 after 12 and start putting on all of these different paints. The first thing I'm going to do is test the wash on this, just so I can remember to do that. And then I'll start applying paint in different orders. Yeah, that. Brass, I need brass as well. There's brass. All sorts of different colors. So, I'm going to be back in about a half an hour. Hopefully more or less. Hopefully I won't go over it too long like I usually do. See you then, and we'll continue working on this. The wing has not fallen off. It doesn't look terrible. Hopefully she'll be okay. They, whatever it is, sprite thing, they will be okay. I'm starting to break. Whoa. What are you seeing there? Oh. Okay, it worked. The last time I ended the break, it like turned everything off, but this time it worked and the music is still playing. Yeah, how about that? Yeah, so all sorts of painting to be done on this. I think I picked out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's like a dozen different colors and washes and stuff. Well, there's one little bigger. Now, let's start. I'm going to start by testing the wash. Testing the wash on these two colors for the tunic and the pants, because I want to see how the wash looks on them. I'm hoping it looks okay, because usually the the kind of flat colors like this look better when they have a little bit of this put on them. A lot of yellow in this. See what it does. Okay. Basically what I wanted to do was just put all these different paints here so that they were in the way when I move my arms around and reach for things, so I could knock them over. I could push the non-existent uh-oh button. The uh-oh button, if it ever happens, probably won't, but if it ever happens, it's going to be on the Stream Deck thing, which is when I reach over like that. And the good thing about that is that if I get an uh-oh button and I start reaching over for it, as I'll knock some other things over. Okay, I can put this aside. We'll take a look at it later. I don't know, so many different colors need to go on in so many different places. I think I'm going to start start with the white. I'm doing this because this might need multiple coats in order to cover. So I'm going to start this. This is going to base coat on the wings and also on the lantern. And the base coat on the wings isn't absolutely critical because it's going to be covered again in white pearlescent. The lantern needs to look all right. So I can sort of see close up. The wings, as I discovered, were fairly delicate because I broke one off, and hopefully it will stay on through the course of being painted white. Good enough. Grab it by the one that broke off. That was not a smart move. Seems to be covering pretty well. Maybe I mixed it well enough. Bristle. And what I do need to do, though, is get this put on the sticky tack holder instead of trying to hold it this way. Got it all over that arm. That's painted later. Yeah, the lantern. I'm not sure how this lantern is supposed to work. I'm going to paint the whole thing white, and then worry about the brass fixtures later. It looks like the whole top of it is brass, and just the bottom part is the globe. I'm not entirely sure that's the intent, though. You have to decide that later. There, yeah. I managed to get white paint all over all sorts of spots where I don't want it. Put on the sticky tack. I'm going to do this hopefully without breaking anything off. Get easier for the next phases of whatever needs to happen. Promised that after break I would go on a ramble about Tom Terrific. So I'd best get on with that, don't you think? So Tom Terrific was a cartoon character on the Captain Kangaroo show, which went on forever. Captain Kangaroo show had all sorts of weird side characters. There was this Mr. Green Jeans guy. The original shows were in black and white, so I can't say for sure. Mr. Green Jeans had green jeans or not. You know, these bib overall kinds of things. I'm guessing they were, otherwise that would be a kind of a silly misnomer. The show went on until the early 80s, I guess, you know. It went on a really long time. Past the time I stopped watching it because it started in maybe the 50s. Went on forever. There was Mr. Green Jeans, and there were some puppet characters. There was the very cleverly named Mr. Bunny Rabbit, who was Bunny Rabbit. It's kind of redundant, isn't it? Bunny Rabbit, like Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Bunny, but Mr. Bunny Rabbit. So it was a double Bunny Rabbit. Mr. Bunny Rabbit. The ongoing shtick of Mr. Bunny Rabbit was that for some reason Captain Kangaroo had carrots. I don't remember why. Mr. Bunny Rabbit always managed to get the carrots. And we all knew Mr. Bunny Rabbit was going to get the carrots, but it was always still funny because it always happened. And then there was Mr. Moose. I forget what Mr. Moose did exactly, but there was a running gag with Mr. Moose as well. I think it had to do with like this deluge of ping pong balls falling from the ceiling on Captain Kangaroo's head. And again, it's like, why? You know, it's just a really bizarre and absurd sort of thing, but it was a running gag, so that was fun. There was Dancing Bear, and Dancing Bear just had this gigantic black nose. Its face was like the third of its face was this big round nose. And I don't remember Dancing Bear even dancing, but that was one of the characters. So there was, I'm sure there were others that came on during many, many years but those are the ones I remember. I do remember the Bunny Rabbit though, and the always getting the carrots that somehow or other Captain Kangaroo always seemed to have. Why? I don't know. Okay, well, this lantern, I'm going to just put more white paint on it now because the paint is still wet. And the lantern isn't covered well enough. The wings are fine as they are because they, like I said, they're getting pearlescent paint on them. So it'll be like a second coat of white paint. But the lantern needs to be more uniformly white. There's a spot in the back of this lantern. It just doesn't look like it's getting covered, but I guess it is. Guess it was just a shadow. Yeah, because from one direction it looked like it wasn't painted. From another direction it looks fine. Okay, well, the lantern's white. Yeah, I've got the choice of like a billion different colors to go in a billion different directions. I guess I'll paint the belt and the cowl next. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Challenging. The boots aren't challenging, but the cowl is. So that's going to be this leather brown. Almost everything on this is going to have to be done with the head magnifiers. You know, just going to have to be, because it's all little detail stuff. The Celestials were really easy to do. For some reason, they were just really easy to paint, because there wasn't that much detail. I mean, this one just has all sorts of little detail. It's smaller, and yeah, it just is what it is. Yeah, it is now going to be magnified probably for the rest of the stream. And this little fine pointed brush is going to get quite a workout. Make an effort to get the right color paint on the right color spots. You start at the cowl and work my way down to the... There's a collar above the cowl. I'm going to paint that the same color as the belt, which is going to be a dark green color. I ended up not talking about Tom's River, and I somehow got distracted by, it said, bump into the staff. I almost broke the staff. That would be appropriate, wouldn't it? This goes around the back here. The defining line between the cowl and the collar. It's a little bit vague back here. Paint it the leather color, just so that there's a base coat on it, and then come back and when I paint the collar, it goes around the top of the cowl. I'll deal with the demarcation line now. This color just, it's called leather brown. It doesn't look very leathery until it's washed. We discovered that really early on, because this is one of the first colors that we started using on minifigs. It was like, well, we want things to look leathery, the leather parts. So why not use leather brown? And it didn't do the job. But then we washed it in umber wash, and it was, wow, that looks like leather now. That was a happy thing. Painting these large areas with this little brush, it sometimes just messes up the bristles. So I probably should have gotten out. I should be using a different brush for this. Well, let me paint along the tops of these boots, and then I'll get a different brush out and messing this one. Like that. Big brush, just one like this. Just a little bit more bristle on it, so I can get faster and more even coverage of the rest of these boots. This isn't a particularly good brush. The bristles are just all mangled, but for this purpose it will do. Oh yeah, Tom Terrific, right. So on the Captain Kangaroo show, which had Mr. Bunny Rabbit and the moose and the carrot-stealing Bunny Rabbit, because for some reason Captain Kangaroo always seemed to have carrots that the Bunny Rabbit wanted. Why, I don't know. Well, probably I do know. The reason was so that Mr. Bunny Rabbit could steal them, because that was an ongoing shtick of the show. You know, kind of a running gag. The show was designed for like 4, 5, 6-year-olds. You always had to have you knew it was going to happen. Ha, I knew that was going to happen. You know, so that when you were like 5 years old, you could feel real smart because you knew what was going to happen, and it did, and you said, I knew it, I was right. And then Dancing Bear for, I don't know, just a weird, big, oddly shaped thing. And Mr. Green Jeans, whose jeans may or may not have been green, how could you tell when it was black and white television? But Tom Terrific was one of these kind of episodic things. There's several things about Tom Terrific. One is that Tom Terrific had an immense ego. I don't know if you'd say narcissistic, but certainly egotistical. You could tell that right away from the theme song, because the theme song lyrics were, "I'm Tom Terrific, the greatest hero ever." Okay, if that doesn't give it away right at the start, right? I'm Tom Terrific, the greatest hero ever, right? And it doesn't get better. The next line is, "Terrific is the name for me because I'm so clever." Didn't say I'm really smart. No, I'm clever, which isn't necessarily the same as being smart or intelligent. But, you know, when you start calling yourself the greatest hero ever, and that Terrific is the name for me because I'm so clever, you know you're not dealing with someone who's very modest. You know, modesty is not a thing there for Tom Terrific. Tom Terrific's superpower was being a changeling. You know, changeling in D&D terms, I guess you'd say. Time to recharge this. The light's starting to dim down. As Tom says in his immodest theme song, I can be what I want to be, and if you'd like to see, follow and follow me. And then during the theme song, Tom Terrific demonstrated his changeling skills. I can be a plane up high. The diesel train go roaring by. One thing you have to say though is that the rhymes in the theme song are not too bad. I mean, I can be a plane up high is, why not? I mean, planes are high. A diesel train go roaring by. It's not too bad. You know, as rhymes go, it's not like a hugely forced rhyme. A bumblebee or a tree, again, you know, they rhyme. So this belt is just really a mess because it's hard to tell where the edges are. You can see on the front, it's pretty well defined here. And I'll be able to paint up to the belt. And I think get a pretty clearly defined line around the side and the back. Can't really see where the belt goes. So the potential area of the belt is very large. Sometimes when the paint dries, you know, you can't see it, can't see the demarcation lines, but after it's painted, they become a little more obvious. So let's see how this collar goes. So yeah, it's a bumblebee or a tree, it's me. The thing about Tom Terrific is that, you know, when you're in trouble, I'm there on the double. Again, you know, decent rhyme, but it explained what Tom Terrific was about. Tom Terrific was, you know, to help people out in trouble. To Pacific, they know Tom Terrific. So those lines make it clear that Tom Terrific was essentially a North American, well, maybe not North American, I mean, it could be South American, but just was a character of the American continents, you know, which went from Atlantic to Pacific. Given that this was a kids' show for very young children, into the 50s and 60s, it was almost certainly meant to be U.S. Tom Terrific spoke with a U.S. accent. To Pacific was referring to other parts of the continents. I think Atlantic to Pacific was primarily to come up with something that wasn't a hugely forced rhyme, but still rhymed with terrific. Pacific, they know Tom Terrific. Anyway, yes, what we learned from the theme song was the massive ego, or at least huge self-confidence expressed by Tom Terrific, claiming to be the greatest hero ever. I mean, Tom Terrific was, at the time, you know, competing with people like heroes like Superman, right? Or Batman. Even like maybe Silver Surfer or something. So to be claiming to be the greatest hero ever when you're dealing in that company, that's quite a boast. Although, you know, the changeling component of it. Mm-hmm. Added some potential credence to the claim. It looks okay. I think I got the collar okay. There's a little spot just right on this side. This is one of those, once again, it doesn't look bad, leave it alone. But no. Get the paint there. Good. Right. Enough of that. Next, maybe I'll paint the hair next. I'm so tired. Were you up late last night? Who? Take a nap? You're not going to have time for a nap. Your whole day is going to be like one thing after the other. Did you not sleep well? Are you just tired of what you're doing? So it's not so much that you're tired, but you're tired of it. Oh, long conversations with people you don't want to hear from because they're talking about things you don't need to. Yeah. Yeah, that's too bad because you have to kind of, like in your job, you have to pay attention to what people are saying too, so that if you make a response. They've had a debt for 5 years, right? And it's still there. Yeah. But it's the holidays. You know, I'm sure there's all sorts of complaints and lines about why you, among their many debtors, should be the one to give it up. It's kind of like, I don't know, term papers. I remember that. That was a thing way back in college. It might still be, I don't know. It was like, I have 4 term papers due. Can I turn mine in late? It's like, no, why don't you get one of the other 3 to turn theirs in late? Why are you picking mine to turn? What's up with that? Think I'm an easy touch? My term paper can be late? But you're such a nice person. These other professors, they call them professors, I don't know if they still do. They're just mean, they won't do anything, but you're nice. And it's like, no, I'm not. You're wrong, I'm not nice. Turn it in on time. If it's late, it'll get marked down. But I got so much. It's like, well, you know, get to work, manage your time. Why should I be the one? You know, you turn it in late, and I've got a life too. I've got to grade all of these papers, right? Turn yours in late, and I can't get my grades in on time, and then some assistant, associate, deputy, somebody or other, because there's always 75 different layers of academics. They second guess. Some deputy, assistant, associate, something or other would be all over my butt because my grades are in late. because you couldn't turn your term paper in on time because somehow or other I'm the one who's supposed to give you extra time. Right. Paint over the edge of the hair because this is one of those things where it's really hard to see. And this hair isn't going to be yellow. Once it's washed, it'll look much different. Yeah, that's right. That's how debts work usually. Unless you get some sort of special whatever. Oh man. Yeah, I did the standard oops. The standard oops is, painting away and then just going too far and getting yellow on the green that I just painted. Nice. Well, I should let this dry and then do a second coat instead of just keep blobbing paint on. Yeah, I need to let that dry a little bit, and then I need to put green back on where that yellow went. I don't know how far down the hair goes on its back here. So I'm going to paint yellow there, even though I know that's not where it is. And then when I paint the flesh color, I'll try to figure out a little better where the demarcation lines are. Well, I need to let that dry and then recoat it. And I also need to let it dry, and then I get the green paint back out again and touch up that spot where I blocked it. That's a technical term. I blocked it and blocked it good there. I think I'm gonna paint the tunic next. And after this, well, I guess I'll save the washing until the end. I was thinking I'd do the umber wash on the leather, but I better wait until the base coats are all done, because if I get paint on the leather color after it's washed, touching it up gets really much harder than just base coating it, right? Just base coating it is easier than trying to get the base coat and the wash both all to match the rest of it when there's like a little dot of a problem. This all requires little bitty brushes as well, because I paint up to the collar, up to the cowl on the top, and the belt on the bottom. Yeah, this light is nearly gone. It isn't much of a light, it's like 2 little LEDs, but it makes a surprising difference in terms of visibility. Oh yeah, so Tom Terrific, right? Self-proclaimed greatest hero ever. Claiming to be terrific because of the level of cleverness. Terrific is the name for me because I'm so clever. Whose superpower was to be a changeling. I can be what I want to be. Take that, non-superheroes. And if you'd like to see, follow me. Giving us then a demonstration of changeling powers. Plane up high, diesel train goes roaring by, a bumblebee or a tree. That's quite an eclectic mix. That's really, and besides being selected because of its rhyming value, which, you know, from the show's perspective is important. Yeah, rhyming value is, you know, a pretty eclectic mix of showing what the changeling powers were. You had your mechanical, non-organic, plane, and train. Oh man, that was bad. I'm actually going to try to wipe that off because covering that green with white is bad, but that was a classic example. Amazingly classic example of the brush touching stuff that did not have been touched. No! Oh, shit. Sorry. I did not mean to use a vulgarity, but the vulgarity needed to be used there. I just broke the wing off again. The epoxy did not hold. Nope, it did not. Well, I'm going to paint the rest of the tunic here. And then get the epoxy out again. And that's one way to use up part of the stream, isn't it? You just have to re-glue the wing. It was... I don't know how that... There was enough epoxy on there, and I thought it was holding, but it was obviously not. It was a clear failure of adhesion. Yeah, that's another way to use up like the better part of, hopefully not 10 minutes, but more than 5 of the stream. Try to reattach the wing. Part of it was part of it was just the not holding it steady enough. Just as it was setting. Right at the end of the setting, there was like some movement. And that movement was enough to kind of break the adhesion. It was just really disappointing. I mean, that the the earlier big oops of breaking it off in the first place was bad enough, but then to break it again, yeah, just not good. Well, one thing it did do is it opened up the back a little bit, so I could, I'm going to say, okay, well, there's an upside. There isn't really an upside to it, but there's a spot here on the, I can paint some bits of the cowl here that I couldn't reach before. All right, this great. Let's knock it on the floor. I'm touching up. I might as well touch this up too. And then I will reattach the wing, which I have thrown down to the floor. Yay. Unintentionally, but nonetheless, that's what happened. It's now on the floor. I need to get it without stepping on it and breaking it. Yep. It was going too well. Okay, we'll just say that. It was going a little too well, and it just could not continue. And it didn't. It did not continue. Okay, so let me clean this brush. It is important to clean the brush. Put the cap back on. Take these off for the moment. Remember to take them back up and recharge them. Get a piece of cardboard or paperboard, not knock anything else over. Pick up the wing without stepping on it and crushing it, breaking it into more pieces. And get the epoxy out again. And hopefully this time it will hold. Put it over here in a corner, because and throw it away so I don't get like epoxy everywhere. Exactly the same amounts of the two in little bitty micro dotish fashion. Getting it on my fingers so that when I touch things, denatured alcohol on a paper towel. Okay, you can tell it's getting close to the end of however long this stream has been going on, because I'm knocking things over and whatevering. So I have to get some denatured alcohol to get the epoxy off my fingers. Very large quantity of it, because it's way cheaper to buy it by the gallon than it is by like the 4 ounces. And I had, for some time, been keeping it here on the workbench because we used to work with epoxy a lot more than we do now. The early versions of our dungeon tiles, the early versions came in pieces, like the wall and the floor and the base all came in separate chunks, and some of them, like corners, inside corners would have 2 walls, a center post, and the base. So it'd be like 4 pieces, and they'd all have to be epoxied together. They'd have to be epoxied together, and then held in place. Anyway, there was a lot of epoxy. I mean, not just little dots like this. There are big chunks of it. We would mix up enough epoxy to do 7. That was our target, is to get 7 out of each mix. And it wasn't quantity, it was timing. Because we had this 5-minute epoxy and there was only that much time, right? And it all had to be done within the time frame of the curing process of the epoxy. Anyway, yeah, so we had this big jar, this big bottle of isopropyl alcohol for cleaning up, because it would get on our fingers and make a mess of things. Okay, try this again. Try to get it in place and hold it in place. Sets. It's just really hard to line up. You have to do it from the back. You can't, because of the way it's set up, you can't even really see it from the front. I think that's probably as good as it gets. You know, I just need to hold it forever. It's a really nice clean break, but not in a way that allows it to very clearly clearest I can see is like right at the top of the wing, like right there. If I can hold it this way now for another, what, 2 minutes or more? I'll do what I can. So let me go back to Tom Terrific. So yes, the greatest hero ever, self-proclaimed. Terrific was its name for me because I'm so clever. Showed off its changeling skills with organics and inorganics. Planes and trains, I mean, that's kind of trite, but it worked. But picked both animal and vegetable, bumblebee and tree, showing a range of sizes as well. So I think, you know, Tom Terrific did a pretty good job in its theme song of showing out the variety of its skill. The skill being the changeling skill. Now, I don't know about the greatest hero ever claim. Like I said, the competition was pretty stiff. You had Spider-Man and Superman and Batman. I guess Tom Terrific Man. Everything was a man. Wow. Yeah, when you say it out loud, that was really something. They were all just man with an adjective. And there were way more. There was like a dozen superhero characters in the comics and even on TV. So claiming that you're the greatest hero ever was a pretty boastful kind of thing. It's a very big claim. So I've got some, looking at the back here, I've got some touching up to do based on what has happened since I am epoxying this wing. Can't even look away. If I look away, I'm likely to move my hand, and if I move my hand, I'm likely to displace this wing. So yeah, so Tom Terrific was on the Captain Kangaroo show, and like some of the others, the cartoons, like the Rocky and Bullwinkle show, is there would be like a 5-part series that would go Monday through Friday, and it would tell the whole story during that period of time, so you had to catch them all. Otherwise, one wouldn't really know what was going on. You'd miss a big part of the story. I don't remember any of the stories, particularly. I do recall that there was a nemesis. You always have to have a nemesis, right? You have to have Dr. Moriarty or Boris Badenoff, Snidely Whiplash, Krabby Appleton. And that's pretty clever, isn't it? Krabby Appleton, who's the catchphrase? I am rotten to the core. And that's pretty clever, huh? So you just kept the whole Apple theme going there. Krabby Appleton was rotten to the core, and that was Tom Terrific's nemesis. Like I said, I don't remember any of the adventures Tom Terrific went on. I'm sure Tom Terrific would always win, because, you know, Tom Terrific was the good one. And Krabby Appleton wasn't, so it had to be, you know, Tom Terrific would best, not necessarily beat, okay? Maybe that's too strong, but best Krabby Appleton. So as I was looking at this through the magnifiers, the head magnifiers, I could see that this needed to be painted further up into the wing here. It was just kind of a mess to bring the cowl around just a little bit to deal with the fracture. Now look at the rest of this green while I'm at it, since I've got the green paint out. These tiny little touches. 2, 3, 4 buttons need to be painted, as does the belt buckle. What's the time going here? We got like a half hour left. Okay. I need to be really careful of that wing. So I guess I'm going to paint the pants next. That should be fairly safe. I need to do a touch-up. Should I do that now? Yeah. The paint is there, just right here. Yeah, that'll do it. Looks better. Okay. I think I can do this. Do the pants. The pants will be safe, like I said. That should be okay. What have I got to do yet? The hair, the arms and face, the lantern. The lantern. Paint the brass on the lantern before I paint the hands. When it comes down to that. The pants. Need to do the little brush with the pants also because of the I have no idea what Okay, I mean, I don't want to do a lot of metagaming here, but one of the centaurs disappeared. She came in here and picked up some of the figures that were here. Now, it might have just been to clean things up on the surface. Okay, the surface, the limited shelving that I've got here to hold these figures. But the flying demons, the red flying demons disappeared. No, she didn't say anything at all. During break, she came down and took away some of these figures that were painted. All the little imps, I think there were like 9 imps or something. The imp family, remember I was painting those different, all sorts of little variations, right? Those are gone. The red-winged demons are gone. The 2 sort of celestial figures are gone. I have no idea. Maybe, like I said, maybe she was just cleaning up and putting them away. Just to get them out of the way. Why one of the centaurs and not both of them are gone, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. There's another... It's really... No, it's more of like a wyvern thing. A couple of the demon things are still here. This thing, whatever it is... Okay, that had a name. That was a sort of a character. That's still here. I suppose we should feel good about this. Okay, the giant demon toad. The giant demon toad is still here. Although I was kind of looking forward to running into this one. You know, we'd try to persuade it to not eat us because we knew Muriel. Like that would make a difference to a giant demon toad, because Muriel is a bollywog and not a toad. But anyway, yeah, some of these are gone. Yeah, I don't know what we're getting into. It doesn't seem good. I think, I don't know, I was having fun just hanging around town. You know, not being in the sewers, going to a magic shop, maybe checking in on our mansion thing or estate and how all of the renovations were going. You know, Nicole, who plays Zoria, had a big listing of all of the renovations. You know, they were all done, because I don't remember what they all were. Some of them were just kind of, I don't know, extravagant, beyond extravagant. But we probably should go back there and check out whether they're being done correctly or not, even though someone else is paying for them, which is nice. Probably would be good to see that they're being done correctly anyway. But I don't know. More battles against extra planar demonic things. You begin to think that Dungeons and Dragons had to do with like combat and saving the universe as we knew it and that kind of thing. as opposed to just like eating. Anyway, yeah, the minifigs are no longer here in the workshop. As I was painting them, you know, I kept speculating about whether or not we would ever meet them and whether they would be friendly and helpful. Maybe like Boy Scouts. Friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Boy Scouts are supposed to be all of those things. Some of them were okay. And friendly, courteous, kind. That was okay. When you got to obedient, it was like, really? Like 11 years old, and I'm pledging to be obedient. Clean had to be clean. It was always cleanliness. Wow, the lights on, it really makes a big difference. I don't know. I don't think so. We really need to. I know we've got one of Muriel. There's a Muriel minifig. Reason. Having trouble focusing with these magnifiers. Almost dropped it. That would have been fun, huh? Finally get the wing glued on again. And then I dropped the minifig. Is this even on camera? Yeah, okay. I was backing away from the work surface. This happened once before when the extra light LEDs went out on the head magnifier. And it makes a huge difference being able to see what I'm doing. They definitely need to be recharged. Oh, that was the pull your paint away from the work and almost smash it into something somewhere where it shouldn't be. That was very close to a significant oops. So the other boot here. I have to say, I'm finding it very much not helpful to have everything magnified, but also out of focus. So I'm seem to be, because the light is out on the magnifier, I'm having trouble getting my eyes to focus here. The other thing that's a problem with these magnifiers is that, like, if you know anything about cameras, there's this thing called depth of field, you know, where you can focus. That's it. You can focus at a spot a certain distance, but not any closer or further. So I'm getting depth of field issues here in that, like I'll focus on the tip of the wing. The tip of the wing is like a ½ an inch away from the top of the boot. And yeah. My supplemental light is out. I'm having to rotate things yet even more than usual to get as much light as I can from this ring light on my camera. Yep, back to complaining about not being able to see. Yeah, I mean, it just makes a huge difference, that little bit of extra light that comes from the LEDs on the tops of these things. Okay. Well, that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, and the difference in color is pretty decent between the pants and the tunic. So there's this little lump here. I don't know why there's these lumps on the left leg. They're like a flaw in the print, but I tried to get rid of some of it, but it was like, I don't want to break anything more than I already have. So I'm going to now do some metallics. I'm going to make an effort to paint, even though these aren't working very well. I think I can get enough light from the ring light here. I'm going to paint the buttons and the belt buckle, and then the brass parts of the lantern. I'm kind of hoping that both the Celestials and the Demonics, the red ones and the blue ones, that both of them will turn out to be helpful. You know, that they represent our planes, you know, as opposed to the extraplanar planes that are attempting to take over our planes. I don't know. You know, these things just come up and I paint them, and I have no idea if they're ever going to show up anywhere or not. Like, there's a little raptor, and there's a mechanoraptor. Those things were fun to paint, but I doubt that we'll ever see them in the stream. But sometimes they show up. Hardly ever show up being good, though. I mean, I'm trying to recall, other than like Muriel, I guess in Hullwind, minifigs that turned out to be good. Do on the belt buckle here. Not the most precise painting, but adequate. One can now see the belt buckle on the buttons. Yeah, how's that? Couldn't focus. Can't tell because I can't focus on the screen. It'll do. I paint the brass parts of the lantern, I guess. And then I'll do a wrap up. Because at this point, what I've got left are washing on the. I need to do the base coat on the face and the arms, and that's just going to be too much, too long. Get done in the stream. I could put the white pearlescent on the wings, but I'm really reluctant to do anything with that broken wing, other than I need to touch up a spot with white paint. I will need to do that. Right on the back of the wing there where the paint came off, or got epoxied again. Got to try to remember to do that. And I do that after I get this brass done, in case I get the brass on the white too much. So I'm looking at this lantern, and I'm thinking it's almost like a firefly kind of thing, because it's almost certainly all, it's like brass up here on the top. It's like this pendant right underneath. And I'm just wondering out loud whether I should make it look a little bit kind of like golden light instead of just bright white light, kind of golden light, like a firefly, yellowish. Give that some thought. So as I'm looking at this, I was thinking of painting the face and the arms ivory. But now I'm thinking maybe a darker color. It's a little pendant on the bottom here. But as I'm painting this, see what I mean? It's like a firefly tail kind of, doesn't it? I guess if I can't get the brush to that, it is not going to be visible. Think about that in terms of the face and hands. Go. Good. Because I'm not going to get to it until Monday, I'll have time to get some advice about what to do with that. There's a spot here now on the wing, though, that needs to be repainted because when it broke off, the paint came off. So let's see if I can do that. Guess it's okay, it's not too bad. Got a little bit on the cowl, but I think the line of it is okay. think I just got some on the face, but it's on the part that'll be painted the face color, not the hair color. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up here. Take these off. Put them on top of my glasses so that when I remember to put my glasses on, and there's a good chance that I will. Also remember to take the head magnifiers with me to recharge. Okay, this is time for the What's Dyson Dungeons All About plug. So Dyson Dungeons, a group of people, friends and relatives who have been running a Dungeons and Dragons campaign forever. And as part of that, we wanted a stream. This is a Dungeons and Dragons show, not just a basement campaign, but a show. It's a great show. Watch it. Okay. Dyson Dungeons and Dragons campaign is a great D&D show. Streaming on Twitch 3 Sundays a month, 2 o'clock Eastern time with live chat. And you can catch all of the old episodes on YouTube or as a podcast. Please do so. That way you get to know the characters a little bit better and some of the backstory. Anyway, printed out dungeon tiles for the D&D show. I'll just show you 2 of them here. I'm not going to show a lot because I've cluttered up my work surface really badly today. But we started printing these so that our show would look really cool by having like taverns and warehouses and castles and sewers and all sorts of things. So these get printed on our 3D printers and then hand painted. And this stream started as a let's stream the painting of the dungeon tiles and or minifigs like this, including our characters minifigs. So yeah, these are really good. They've got the back and the floor printed as one solid piece so that they are very stable. And then underneath this little plate here are ball magnets so that they adhere to each other. And they're magnetic, but not magnetic in that they have to attach to a metal surface, magnetic in that they attach to each other. So you could see even on cardboard, they hold on to each other really well. These are painted, they're primed, base coated brown, washed in brown, and then the stucco's painted on front and back. So they're really good quality. They have working doors. Some of these have trap doors. There are corners, corners. There are rounded corners. There are floor tiles that you can put in between to make, just extend the floor. Just a whole lot of variety of them that you can see, on our stream if you catch it. If you get an episode where there's some sort of combat going on, our dungeon tiles are often featured. More often than not, sewers. We seem to spend a lot of time in sewers, figuring out puzzles and defending people and battling extraplanar invaders. But that's how Relaxing Painting started, as a spin-off, of the Dungeons and Dragons show. Yeah. And then Submarine Wednesday became a spin-off of that when there weren't any dungeon or minifigs to paint. And so I started painting and working on models that I collected for my retirement that I never got around to even after being retired for like 6 years or something. So this stream became a vehicle for me to do what I was going to do with the spare time that I ended up not having. Yeah, and I'm looking at the like 3 dozen other models that I can work on after the submarine is done sometime early next year. I've got a whole lot of World War II planes. I've got a Hindenburg. That would be a very easy one to do. Okay, it's all just painted kind of silvery white. except for like the decals and things. I don't know why I bought it. You know, it's really not a very interesting model, but it's the Hindenburg. I've got a 1957 Corvette Fuelie that, if I were able to pull it off, is a really amazing model. It's highly detailed. It's got working suspension. I think even the steering would work if the parks don't break. If I recall, there's even like a carpet, a piece of fabric that goes on the inside of it, so I might try that. I've got an Aventador Super Veloce. That might be cool. That's a cool car. I've also got like I'm working on a cutaway submarine, as I've got a cutaway B-29, and that would be a fun model. I've got a plank-built America, the Yacht America. That looks like it's supposed to be built up like the original, like one piece of wood at a time. Maybe I'll just leave that to like grandchildren or something. I've got a model of the Lotus Ford that won 1965 Indianapolis 500. I remember watching that race on big screen TV at a movie theater or auditorium or something. You know, if you couldn't be at the race, it wasn't televised then, but there was like this closed circuit thing you could buy tickets to. My dad got tickets and we went and watched that. And I've got some Star Trek models. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see them. These are like high quality ones. These have fiber optics in them. There is a Deep Space Nine, and there's two Enterprises. Oh, one of them has, yeah, with lights. One of them has a fiber optic lighting system, and the other one has lights and sound effects. Not sure which ones they are. I'd have to go down and dig them out. There's also an original, I should actually show this. This is kind of fun. This might be kind of fun to build. I think there's like a D in under the original, but this is pretty funny. This is a model of the original Enterprise command bridge. I don't know if it even comes with these figures or not. You know, it looks like this would be hideously awful to paint. You know, all these little, let's paint all these little buttons and light up things and dials and whatever. Paint and cement not included. Okay, might include small parts in like 7 or 8 different languages. I don't know. That might be interesting to build. The alternative, I was told that this is the one that I probably should work on. Deep Space Nine one. Deep Space Nine one, I think, came actually with DVD. There used to be such a thing. Let's put it together. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Sometime next year. Yeah, the Porco Rosso one would be pretty good too. I've got a Savoia, a 1/48 scale Savoia, the Porco Rosso's plane. Maybe sometime beat Klingon Bird of Prey. Wow, there's some really cool models here. I wish I had, you know, maybe I should just like do this like 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, and then I might actually get some of these things done. Yeah, so there's the Porco Rosso Savoia, 1/48 scale. That would be fun. That would be a cool thing to do. NCC 1701 refit model. Yeah, I'm just looking at this stuff. The Super Veloce is a pretty cool car, though. That might be fun to do. These are 71. But I need to finish the submarine first. Why am I even speculating? At the rate that's going, that might never happen. Because I need to get those missile tubes yellow in a uniform way so that I can spend hours and hours and hours getting them to fit into the decks so that I can put them into the hull of the submarine and get on with the end of it. Anyway, yes, Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons Friday edition is about to wrap up. Thank you all for watching, either during the stream or on YouTube later. On Monday, I will return and finish up this, whatever it is. I've got to do some washing on the leather, figure out what to do with the flesh tone. When I do the leather wash, I'll probably also do the hair wash. The wings are going to get pearlescent, and then maybe a silvery dry brush. I've got to finish up the staff. There's a bunch of little things that have to be done yet to make this thing, whatever it is, this little sprite-like creature, turn out to look interesting and fun. So that's going to be on Monday, and then on Wednesday, I will promise now that I'm going to get those missile tubes painted again, at least a second coat, and on some of them, maybe even a third coat between now and Wednesday, so that I can, in fact, start assembling, finally, the missile launching room. The reactor room stuff is all painted and ready to be assembled, and then I will be into the mechanical rooms, and there's only like 3 or 4 colors back there with not too terribly much detail, and I'm really hoping that that goes fairly quickly. So thanks, everybody. One last plug. Patreon.com/Dice and Dungeons. Patreon.com/Dice and Dungeons if you want to support Dice and Dungeons, either a D&D campaign or Relaxing Painting or both. Please, wander over there and consider becoming a patron. Then you can get our DM notes and exclusive access to... Why didn't I see that before? Exclusive access to our... This is where I had... this is where I broke the wing off again last time. Is I got some green paint on the wing tip here, and as I was attempting to wash it off, as opposed to just paint over it, I broke the wing off a second time. So yes, support our effort. Oh yeah, our improv warm-ups for our D&D sessions, which are hilarious, I have to say so myself. And I did. I said it myself. They're really funny. And you can't see them unless you're a patron. So go to patreon.com/Dice and Dungeons. I will be back again on Monday at about 10 o'clock. I was right on time today. That was pretty cool. Finishing up the sprite-like creature, person. I will be finishing up this minifig and then starting on something else and talking about how successful I was at second and third coating the missile launching tubes for the submarine. Thanks, everybody. See you on Monday.